Harvey, I don't know if you remember, I wasn't in California at the time, but I don't know when people took Arnold Schwarzenegger seriously that he actually could be governor.
Wait a minute, you don't think I remember this? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm sure. Like, what was the moment where it was like, all right, he definitely can be governor?
The moment was this, and this is why this is so important. We're about to get into this with Matt McConaughey, but the moment was that he showed up on The Tonight Show and announced he was going to run for governor, and people applauded. They were surprised. They couldn't believe it. But what happened was, at the time, Gray Davis was our governor, and there was a recall movement against him. And what happens is you vote in the recall, and then if you vote to recall, then they have a list of people as a second part. Arnold was the most famous of that, and he got elected governor. And that's how it happened.
Well, the difference in Texas is there is no recall.
That's correct.
Movement for Greg Abbott. But every week there's another poll, and each poll seems to be giving Matt McConaughey, making it very clear that he's getting more support to run for governor. Now, he still has not said he is going to. He has said he is looking into it. He's open to it. And the latest poll has him ahead of Greg Abbott.
By a lot. 45 to 33 for Governor Abbott, with 20% of the people saying they don't want either of them. But that's a huge deal.
But I will also say that we, and rightfully so, on this show have talked about how polls have, sometimes they just mean nothing. Let's talk about all the polls before the last two elections, right? And what they said. So, the last two presidential elections.
And here's the other thing about this, Charles. Number one, obviously he's held no political office anymore. And, this is no disrespect on Matt McConaughey, but it just seems like people think experience is actually a bad thing. But it doesn't seem experience is a good thing for a lot of voters. That said, it's unclear what party even Matt McConaughey would run under, because he's actually criticized both parties, and nobody really knows where
maybe that's why he has such broad support. Right. Because he hasn't pissed off one side or the other yet.
We know from previous elections, too, even candidates like Beto O'Rourke, who got tons of coverage and publicity, he even had a really hard time switching Texas from going red to blue. People are now talking a lot about this blue wave. And Matthew has come out before in very kind of strong stances against gun reform or making stronger policies. And there have been 2 mass shootings in Texas in the past week. I'm sure that would definitely get a lot of Democrat voters on board. But as you guys mentioned, I mean, maybe being an outsider could play to his advantage.
Well, it seems to work that way in the electorate these days. I mean, look, in California, we've had plenty of experience with this with Ronald Reagan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys don't remember it, but there was a senator named George Murphy who was basically a song and dance guy in B movies, and he ended up being the senator of the United States and from California. And there was another guy named S.I. Kayakawa who was the president of and on and on and on and on and on. So there you go.
Michelle from South Carolina. 1,000 people is an awfully small sampling for a poll in a state of almost 30 million people. But, as it's been shown the last couple of years, that being a known name on a ballot means a lot, and people will pick a name they know. That's
the way it works. Again, Charles, the people who are coming into us from all over the country have such good points today. I mean, they're just doing great. Look at all. This is fantastic.